Welcome, students, to this session on Edmund Burke. The module we are discussing today is Views on Revolution. The outline, we will be discussing the views on American Revolution and views on French Revolution. At the end of the session, you will be able to understand Burke's views on revolution. Views on American Revolution. Burke expressed his support for the grievances of the 13 American colonies under the government of King George III. On 19th April 1774, Burke made his famous speech on the American taxation on a motion to repeal the tea duty. Later, on 22nd March 1775, Burke delivered a speech on the reconciliation with America. He appealed for peace instead of a civil war. He reminded the House of Commons of America's growing population, its industry, and its wealth. He pleaded with the House to remember that the interest by way of money received from the American colonies was far more attractive than any sense of putting the colonists in their place. His attitude towards the American Revolution was liberal. His speeches reflect a spirit of a practical statesman. Burke felt the American question required to be handled not on the basis of abstract rights but concrete interest, not on the basis of legality, but on that of expediency. He held the view that in spite of the legal rights of the British Parliament to tax the American colonies, its colonial policy was bad and oppressive. He would sacrifice truth to peace for the sake of expediency. To him, magnanimity in politics often represented the soundest political policy. Prudence was the standard of all political virtues. In relation to America, Burke showed himself to be a liberal-minded Whig, whose liberalism was not based on any theoretical basis of rights, but on practical basis of utility. He gave 4 reasons for not using force against the American colonies. He stated that the use of force would have to be temporary and that the uprisings and objections to the British governance in America would not be. Burke worried about the uncertainty surrounding whether Britain would win a conflict in America. Further, he was afraid that a war would render the land useless and unusable. He was also not sure if it was possible for Britain to rein in an unruly colony by force, which was thousands of miles away from home. Burke's concerns were not only reasonable, but some turned out to be prophetic. The American colonies eventually did not surrender, even when things looked extremely bleak and the British were ultimately unsuccessful in their attempts to win a war fought on American soil. It was the character of the American people themselves, their love for freedom, the spirit of liberty, which would not accept force by the British government. Burke further proposed 6 resolutions to settle the American conflict peacefully. Firstly, he said allow the American colonies to elect their own representatives, settling the dispute about taxation without representation. Acknowledge this wrongdoing and apologize for grievances caused. Further, procure an efficient manner of choosing and sending these delegates. He also suggested setting up of a General Assembly in America itself with powers to regulate taxes. He also suggested to stop gathering taxes by imposition and collect them only when needed. He also suggested to grant aid to the colonies. Let us now discuss his views on the French Revolution. Burke gave a well-reasoned and popular critique of the French Revolution in his work, Reflections on the Revolution in France, written in 1790. His other writings on the subject include a letter to William Eliot, written in 1795, and the letters on a regicide peace written between 1795 and 1797. Burke's first public condemnation of the revolution occurred on the debate in Parliament on the revolution. His reaction to the outbreak of the French Revolution reveals his conservatism. He felt that the French, in their enthusiasm for the idea of liberty, had failed to understand that liberty was only one amongst a range of benefits all of which were required in mutual connection for a life under civil government that was civilized in the proper sense. The lack of attention of the revolutionaries to the relations that were necessary to establish modern government, especially in connection with liberty, was matched by inappropriateness to a sovereign regime of structuring its institutions around equality rather than around effective command. Burke predicted that the quest of the revolutionaries for liberty and equality in France would result in a tyranny more oppressive than their previous regime. He criticized the French Revolution because it was provoked by the conception of abstract rights of man, liberty, equality, fraternity. He pointed out the dangers of abstract theorizing. On the contrary, he eulogized the glorious revolution of England of 1688, which sought to reassert customary rights that Englishmen had enjoyed from the very early days. The French Revolution resulted in the total destruction of ancient institutions, political, religious, social, and economic. To him, the French Revolution was undermining the existence of the state and the society and threatening the very life of the French nation. The English had changed the ruling personnel without destroying the institutions, but whereas the French destroyed their institutions along with the personnel. He predicted that the revolution would lead to a republic with anarchy, war, and military dictatorship. Burke expressed strong opposition to the revolution in France because it was based on violence. He opposed the French Revolution because its leaders were trying to construct the French society according to their own ideas and ideals after destroying the existing institutions which represented the accumulated experience of centuries. The French revolutionaries had not merely revolted against the king, but also against the real French constitution and well-established institutions. Burke justified rebellion against the king only if he was guilty of subverting the fundamental laws and institutions. He was not opposed to all changes. To him, change and continuity was the lifeblood of society. However, the changes must be imperceptible, gradual, and undertaken with utmost caution. According to him, the two principles of conservatism and correction operated in England during the critical periods of the Restoration and the Revolution, when England did not have a king. In both these times, the entire old order was not replaced by a new one. Rather, a corrective mechanism was used to rectify the deficiencies within the existing constitutional framework. The British period of the Magna Carta, from 1215 to the Bill of Rights in 1688, was one of slow but steady consolidation, reflecting continuity and change. Burke said, in sharp contrast to the process of gradual change in Britain, the French attempt has been to achieve a complete break with the past with a new emphasis on equality and participation. For further reference, students, you can read these books. Thank you.